Good morning. My name is Gene Gable. I'm the president of Seybold Seminars. And I want to thank everybody for coming. We know it wasn't easy for some of you to make it here today, and we really appreciate the effort. Yesterday we made the announcement that because of the events of the last few weeks, there would have to be some natural changes in our lineup of programming and some of our speakers. This morning I was supposed to be introducing live via satellite from Paris, France, Apple CEO Steve Jobs. I hope you won't be too disappointed that instead I'd like to introduce live via stage right Apple CEO Steve Jobs. Thank you, Steve.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. I was supposed to be in Paris today for Apple Expo Paris, which unfortunately, given the events of the last week and a half, we decided it was best to cancel. So I could be here today. But when I was going to be in Paris, I asked Phil Schiller, one of my close colleagues and Apple's vice president of worldwide product marketing, to give this keynote. And Phil's done a great job preparing a keynote, so I just wanted to say a few words and get off the stage and let Phil get up and give his great keynote. We have some of the best hardware we've ever had. We've got the fastest personal computer in the world, Power Mac G4. We've got the best and fastest portable in the world with the titanium PowerBook G4, and we got the incredibly successful iBooks. But if you asked what's the most important strategic thing we are doing at Apple right now, most important thing of the company is Mac OS X. Mac OS X is the first major overhaul of the Mac platform, really in many ways since 1984. And what we have done with Mac OS X was what everyone said was impossible. We have married the power, the openness of Unix, all open source, with the elegance and simplicity of the Macintosh and the Macintosh's extremely powerful and broad applications platform and thousands or tens of thousands of applications. We have married these two things together. No one thought it was possible. Even some folks at Apple didn't think it was possible in the first few years. We've managed to do it, and it's great. And what's resulted has been the platform that we're going to build on for the next 15, 20 years. We shipped Mac OS X on March 24th. Wasn't perfect. We said it would, at that time, we said it's going to take us 12 months to complete the transition to Mac OS X. And one way to look at that, 12 months is like 12 hours on the face of a clock, with noon being March 24th. Well, 6 months has passed since March 24th. So we're at 6 o'clock now. We're halfway through the transition. Now, Avi's software team didn't stop after they shipped Mac OS X in March 24th. They didn't go off and take vacations because they knew we weren't finished yet. They knew there were going to be issues from users and from developers. And these guys have worked like crazy in the last 6 months. And we've shipped 4 software updates over our internet software update mechanism. It's worked beautifully. But today, we're going to announce the first major upgrade to Mac OS X version 10.1, and it's come out spectacular. We've shown this, everybody we've shown it to has one word, first word out of the mouth, awesome. The performance is spectacular. We've filled in the missing features, not only DVD playback, but things like burning DVDs right from the desktop with 4.6, whatever it is, gigabytes of data right from your desktop. Things like that. It is awesome. And it's going to be in stores for you to get this Saturday. Okay? We will actually be in stores with our first major upgrade to Mac OS X before the Windows XP upgrades are even in the stores for their first rev. So Saturday, September 29th, in stores. The price, macOS 10 costs the same $129 that we announced it at. But if you already own macOS 10 and you want us to ship you a new disk, it's not a small release we can download over the internet. We've changed so much stuff that it's a CD. You can get that CD if you already own macOS 10 for $19.99 by going to the Apple Store, going to any dealer. We'll be glad to ship you one. Or you can go to your dealer and get a free upgrade to macOS 10 starting this Saturday for the next month. It's good through the end of October. You can get a free upgrade. You can walk out with a disk or a package in your hand, take home. You can bring your portable in and upgrade right on the spot. It's free to all macOS 10 owners. So macOS 10.1, major upgrade. If you're a 10 user, you're going to love this. If you're not a 10 user, now is the time to become one. This is the mainstream release. We are now beyond the early adopters. This is the release that everybody's going to end up using, and we're extremely proud of it. So here we are at 6 o'clock. What's going to happen over the next 3 months to get us to 9 o'clock or the end of this calendar year? One simple thing, and that's applications. There's already about 1,500 apps shipping for macOS 10, but some of these are shareware apps. Some of these are not the most important apps we use every day. And most of the important apps we use every day are going to ship macOS 10 native in the next 3 months, before the end of this year. Possibly the most important macOS 10 app, single most important, is Office for macOS 10. Microsoft has announced that they are going to be shipping Office for macOS 10 in November. This is a totally rewritten Office. It does not work on 9. It is a big advance over the 9 version. It only runs on 10. And I have to say, I think they have done a spectacular job. We have some betas at Apple. It is fantastic. I think they could end up being the poster child for here is what a great macOS 10 app looks like. This is the icon for Word. A little strange, but we'll get used to it. This is Word 10 for Mac, and Microsoft's doing a great thing. Starting today, I believe it's at noon, you can test drive Word. You can get a copy of Mac OS 10.1. You can get a free download of Word from Apple's site or Microsoft's site and actually test it on Mac OS 10.1. And it's worth doing. It's a really great app. But the whole suite is great, and we think when Office ships this November, it's going to be the #1 selling Mac OS 10 app, the one that everybody wants. I think you're going to be very pleased with it. So apps are what we are now focused on through the end of the year. You're going to see lots of apps coming out. The floodgates are going to open, and I think by the end of this year, we're going to be in very good shape. We'll have another 3 months to go to get the laggards in and to complete the transition to Mac OS 10 by early next spring. We think we're on schedule to do that. And we have the confidence of Mac OS 10.1 behind us now. So, to focus on Mac OS 10.1, to show you how great this is, I'd like to invite Phil Schiller, one of my colleagues and our Vice President of Worldwide Product Marketing, up on stage. And Phil, let's hear about Mac OS 10.1. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and choosing to come here. Today is a great day because together we can launch the newest product from Apple, macOS 10 version 10.1. So the remainder of this keynote, I'd like to spend our time talking about 10.1, telling you about some of the great features in this product, show you some things you probably haven't heard of, certainly haven't seen before, not only on macOS 10 but on any operating system, and also show you a few of the really great apps that are becoming available for macOS 10. Now to start, I just want to review very briefly some of the overarching goals we have for 10, and you'll see through this and what we talk about later how macOS 10 version 10.1 has really achieved a number of these important goals. Well, first and foremost, we know that when you make a great operating system, it can last a long time. That it'll be with us and the basis of the computer that we all love and want to run. In fact, the last version of macOS has taken us through 17 years. and has evolved greatly over that time. So if we do a great job with macOS 10, this operating system will be with us for a decade or more. And as Steve said, we're trying to build together the stability, the industrial strength, crash-free protection of Unix, and marry it with a remarkably easy-to-use, fun, and friendly product that we all know and love as the Mac. And that is a key goal of macOS 10, to make what was not possible and make it happen for our customers. And in doing so, we're going to embrace open standards, not just support them, not just have some, but truly embrace them to make macOS the most open desktop you can use today. I mean, isn't that amazing to think that people think macOS is a proprietary thing, a niche proprietary platform, but in truth, I think a lot of you know that with its Unix underpinning and its embracing of standards, the macOS 10 is the most open desktop you can run today. And along the way, we've seen the computer, the personal computer, start to evolve. It's doing new things, things that weren't imagined a decade ago. And we at Apple see this as the beginning of something we call the digital hub, the personal computer at the center of all this digital devices and media that are now a part of our life. CD players, DVD players, MP3 players, cell phones, handhelds. These are all around us now, and the personal computer can play an important role at the center of making that all-powerful media accessible to us, not only for our home life and for our school life, but even in the work that a lot of all of you do creating content. And of course, macOS is known for its amazing graphics. And macOS started just so many trends today with fonts and picked bitmaps that made it possible for new applications to be created and for documents to be interchanged between those applications. With macOS 10, we're dramatically advancing the state-of-the-art in computer graphics, with 2D graphics from PDF and Quartz, with 3D graphics from OpenGL, with QuickTime audio and video, and all seamlessly composited together with the Quartz compositing engine, something that has not existed on a personal computer platform to date. And this is all being built at a time where we know the internet is part of our workflow, part of both how we live and use a computer, as well as the things we create and all the content you all create. So we've built macOS 10 understanding that it has to have access to and create content for the internet. And also during this time, as we've been working on macOS 10, the portable personal computer has really risen in prominence to become incredibly important to the personal computer lifestyle. And we at Apple think we make two of the best personal computers that are mobile in the world, the iBook and the Titanium PowerBook G4, two killer portable products. With macOS 10, we have the best mobile operating system in the world, with instant on and automatic networking and so much more. And we've built this operating system for the whole world, where languages are just preferences for your operating system. You can set any language you want, even multiple users with different languages. You can set any application to be in any language you want. You can open up multiple documents within an application in different languages. This Unicode is built right into the core of the operating system. And of course, our customers expect us to go the extra mile, to work hard, to make it easy for you to get to macOS 10. And we've worked very hard, both with 10.0 and now 10.1, to make that migration very simple. Not only an install process, they can click one button and then unattended walk away and come back in a few minutes and you've been upgraded, but to also protect what you had in macOS 9 and leave that operating system on the disk as well, so you can choose to boot back and forth and try out macOS 10. And last, and certainly not least, with all this power and all these features, we want to enable killer new applications to emerge again on top of the Mac platform. Not only to have applications that are at peer level with what's available on their Windows counterparts, but to start to see again applications that have unique features that make the Mac version sometimes even better, or even Mac only. It would be great to see some of those applications starting to become available again on the Mac platform, and 10 is going to be the underpinnings that make that possible. So those are our 10 goals for macOS 10 in under 10 minutes, and gives you a foundation of how we look at macOS 10 and what we're trying to design here. This is a long-term strategy, not just a quick release. Well, now we're going to go into macOS 10 version 10.1. Internally, we lovingly called this product Puma, because it's one fast cat, and I hope when you try it, you feel the same way. And it has come out fantastic. And this is a macOS to be proud of. It is a great release. It's stunning and beautiful in every detail. It works fantastically well. And you're going to find features as you start to use it and uncover and play with it that you just couldn't imagine that they got all of this in here in just 6 months from delivering our first product. I mean, a lot of times engineering teams are tempted to just go on vacation after you deliver your first product, a 10.0 product. You're so tired from all those years of work. But our team has worked incredibly hard. They didn't stop and have put out an OS that really illustrates the kind of platform we're building. In the past, to deliver the kind of features we're going to talk about would have taken 12, 18 months on an old code base. With macOS 10, in just 6 months, we're able to innovate so much because of how modern that foundation is. So let's step through some of it. Performance. When we released macOS 10 10.0 back in March, we heard instantly from customers that we should make this faster. And we knew they were right. We agreed with them. So for 6 months, Avi's engineering team has been working at every level of the system to make it faster. Not just one quick fix here or there. Every component of the system has been worked on with performance in mind. A couple quick examples. Launching applications, something we do many times a day, is now 2 to 3 times faster. Not percent, times faster. And that's just not on the fastest dual processor Power Mac G4. That's up and down the product line. Everyone will experience 2 to 3 times faster launches. Those beautiful, gorgeous Aqua menus that you roll across that are compositing graphics and doing anti-alias drop shadows. Now they're smooth and quick and responsive because they run 5 times faster than on 10.0. Resizing windows, probably the area we got the most feedback to make faster, feels incredibly responsive in real time. It's 5 to 10 times faster now. So all throughout the system, you find important performance improvements, not only working in the Finder and on the desktop, but performance improvements that are felt inside every application. So macOS 10.1 is incredibly fast. Now that would have been enough for a major update, but we've worked throughout the system to make it easier and even more beautiful. We've enhanced many things in Aqua. The #1 requested feature for 10 was the ability to move the dock, move it to the left or right hand of the screen. I think that's one of the first things customers will notice about macOS 10 version 10.1. We've also added some system status icons up on the menu bar. This makes it easy and quick for you to get up there and manage your date and time, your airport settings, your audio, your video settings, and be able to do it just by seeing an instant status as well as make those interactive menus. Very simple and very powerful. And we've done some great things with sharing files with other users on other platforms. We know the Mac is wonderfully easy in part because our customers don't have to worry about extensions. I create a document, I call it My Letter. I don't have to worry about those confusing 3-letter acronyms. But on other platforms, they do have to care about that. What extension a document has decides what application will open that up in the system. Well, macOS 10 allows us to all work the way we're comfortable, not worrying about extensions. But when I go to share those files with Windows and Unix users, it will automatically expose an extension and make it so that the person you're sharing with can use that file too without having to do any work yourself. I get the file back, the extension gets hidden away. I don't have to care about it. So all throughout the system, the usability, that Aqua experience is second to none, and it is even better in 10.1. The graphics system, we continue to move it ahead, even though there's nothing like it in the world. It now, of course, uses the latest PDF spec. PDF is the core of the imaging model, a great standard from Adobe, and it's the core of how Quartz is engineered. And we're up to the latest spec, 1.3 of PDF. We've even taken some features from the upcoming PDF 1.4, like 128-bit encryption, and built into PDF. And probably one of the things you'll all notice the most is printing. Made some great enhancements to what was already a great print architecture. USB printing was pretty automatic before. You plug in a USB printer, it figures out what printer it is, it brings up Print Central, and you just say OK and start printing. Now you don't even have to see Print Central. The user plugs in a printer, it figures out what it is, the print job starts, you don't have to set anything up. Similarly, laser printing is now automatic. We've got over 200 PPDs for all the popular laser printers out there. macOS 10 will recognize the printer, auto-configure, and expose very powerful laser writer features so you can control those professional quality printers. We've said we're building the most open desktop. Here's a list of just some of the standards and protocols we support in macOS 10. Very important internet and networking standards, document sharing standards. This isn't just things that have been thrown on the platform. This is in the core of how the system works. Just point out a couple. macOS 10 now, with 10.1, has built-in SMB CIFS support. What is that mouthful? Well, that's the interface standard for Windows servers. So a Mac client can connect to a Windows server as a full client, automatically built into the OS. And of course, Unix systems run something called Samba that also supports the same standard. So this is a way to interface to Unix and Windows servers automatically without adding anything to your system. So with increased AFP support for Apple servers, for SMB support, NFS support, now macOS is by far the best connected client and open desktop in the world for connecting to Mac servers, Windows servers, and Unix servers. What I'd like to do at this point, there's a lot more features we're going to talk about in 10.1. I'd like to bring up Ken Bereskin, Director of macOS Product Marketing, to give you a peek at some of these great features on 10. Ken?
Thanks, Phil. It's my pleasure to be able to show macOS 10 version 10.1 for the very first time in public, the final version. Here we have it up and running on this demo system. And the very first thing you'll notice is how fast and responsive the entire system is. As Phil mentioned, every aspect of the system has been optimized. And one of the most obvious examples is application launch. As you know, when you launch an application in macOS 10, you click on its icon in the dock. And with 10.0, you would count how many bounces that application would take. So let me just launch a couple of the applications that are built in. Our text edit application, it launched before the first half bounce. You know, we weren't switching to an already running application. I just quit. You don't see its triangle. I'll do that again. Instant response for applications. And I'll go through QuickTime, 1 bounce, up and running. Sherlock, Internet Explorer, our mail application, everything in the system is amazingly responsive. Now, application launch is a really important aspect of everything that we do, but we didn't stop there. The responsiveness of the user interface in every dimension is also much faster. And as Phil mentioned, one of the key areas is in the user interface is the menu system. When I pull down a menu in macOS 10, we're using some very advanced image processing. This is a multi-layer compositing imaging system. We draw our menus semi-transparent so that you can see the content that you're working on. You can see the image below. And there's a drop shadow that gives the menu depth and separation. All of the text is drawn with beautiful and very advanced anti-aliasing algorithms. When I drag through the menu in 10.1, it's incredibly fast. In fact, it's probably faster than this projector can actually display. The system is amazingly responsive, and you get to focus on the work you're doing, and the system isn't holding you back in any respect. Another really important area is, as you know, in macOS 10, everything is dynamic and fluid. So when you move windows and resize them, we show the real content and recalculate everything. In the Finder, though, we certainly got a lot of feedback that resizing needed a big performance boost. So let me switch to my Applications folder here. And I will start resizing in icon view, and you notice that it tracks the mouse absolutely perfectly. In fact, list view was the area that needed the biggest optimization, and now it's incredibly responsive. Every aspect of the system you'll notice immediately. Another important area of performance are some new features that we added. For example, a lot of people that are using their system all the time, let me just open up a bunch of images here, use this great feature in the dock for minimizing windows. And so when I minimize down onto the dock, we have this great genie effect. The animation shows you exactly what's happening. I'm minimizing the content in my window onto the dock. But we got some feedback from professional customers that they wanted that animation to work even faster for their workflow. So if I go into my dock preference, we're adding a new effect with 10.1, the scale effect. So when I choose scale, and now I minimize my windows, zoom, 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 zoom. Very, very quick. It allows you to focus on your work and open and minimize windows just at the click of a mouse. A lot of people love this effect. So that's a quick tour of some of the performance improvements in the system. But the other thing that you're going to notice right away is how much more refined the Aqua user interface is. As Phil mentioned, the #1 request in the dock is the one thing you use all the time for organizing and accessing your applications and documents and open windows. The big request was to position the dock on the left edge of the screen, the bottom, which remains the default, or the right. And depending on your monitor and how you work, you have the ability to customize the system exactly the way you want to. I prefer it on the bottom, so I will keep it there. We've also introduced system status icons. System status is displayed on the top of the menu bar on the right-hand side, so at a glance, you can see exactly what's going on with your Mac. Joining date and time is a system volume indicator, my airport signal strength, my display resolution, even my internet connection is displayed. So again, you can just glance right up at the screen, know exactly what's going on, but they're even more powerful than that. I can pull down any one of these icons, a menu will drop down so I can connect to the internet if I'm on a modem or PPP over Ethernet. I can change my display resolution. I can change my airport base station. I can adjust my system volume setting. It's a very, very convenient feature. You don't have to hunt through the various control panels or preferences to make your system yours. And on a PowerBook or an iBook, of course, there will be a battery indicator that will show you how much battery life is left. Another really great thing about the dock is we've made the icons much more powerful. So I've just launched iTunes, and I'll start playing one of my favorite songs. And a lot of people, when they're listening to music, like to keep iTunes completely hidden in the background. Well, with 10.1, the icons on the dock are much more powerful. I can click and hold on them, and you get a custom menu that has commands designed specifically for iTunes. In this case, it shows me that I Shall Be Released by Bob Dylan is playing. I can pause, I can go to the next song, and you basically have full control over applications directly from the dock. Another big time saver. This is an API that's available for all application developers, so this service is available for any app that you'll run on macOS 10. We've also redesigned our system preferences application, making it much easier to navigate. We've grouped preferences in personal, hardware, internet, and system settings. We've added a desktop preference. This allows you to visually see all the various desktop pictures that Apple supplies. People love to be able to customize their Mac with their own choice for desktop pictures and patterns. And we've got a series of choices that we make available. We get a lot of requests from creative professionals, especially people working in a managed color workflow environment, to provide a series of neutral gray desktops so that the user interface doesn't intrude with your color work. And that joins the graphite appearance so that you can have a color neutral environment so you can focus on your work dealing with color in the most productive way possible. Let me just switch it back here. For consumers, and for all of us, in fact, who like to have fun as well, you can point this desktop preferences at any folder that has images, and we, by default, can also look directly in your Pictures folder. Every user on the system has a Pictures folder. It's the automatic place where images get captured, and you can set your own desktop simply by just clicking, and obviously it just instantly appears. Very, very, very convenient. Now, we've also built in a number of great pro features in the system. As Phil mentioned in his slides, universal access has been added to the system, and we have this great keyboard navigation capability as well. People love to be able to fly through their system, especially pros, without always having to go to the mouse. So I've got a hotkey, which you can customize, which I press, and it activates the menu bar. And using the arrow keys, I can navigate any menu in any macOS 10 application. Another hotkey will activate the dock, so I can cycle through any of my applications. In fact, I can even go through any of the pop-up menus that are supported on the dock as well. So you can navigate the entire system and the entire user interface using the keyboard if you choose. You're going to love it. Now, macOS 10, based on the Quartz imaging model, has some really powerful graphics and font capabilities, as Phil mentioned. We bundle some exceptional fonts from some of the leading type foundries in the industry. There's some awesome Japanese fonts that are built into every copy of macOS 10 with no DPI restrictions. And in 10.1, we've also significantly improved the printing architecture. For consumers, USB printers are detected automatically. And for pros, we have a very much expanded print dialog. I've selected an HP LaserJet 9000 printer. It was auto-detected. And we now have options that map directly to the features supported by that printer. Full duplex support, output options. As you know, Quartz is based on PDF, so you can save to PDF in any application. But many of your workflows are still based on PostScript, so we now have the ability to output to PostScript directly from any macOS 10 app. That was a much requested feature, and we're happy to deliver it. And if we don't have a specific user interface for a given printer, we map the entire PPD into a really simple, easy-to-use interface where you can navigate through all of the features supported by that particular printer. You can make changes and save that as a custom setting that's available now in any of your applications. macOS 10 is also the ultimate DVD machine. We're really happy to be able to provide in version 10.1 a really outstanding DVD player. We picked a very recent DVD, just released about 30 days ago, leveraging some existing, slightly dated, but really fun content. And I inserted the DVD. It gets detected by macOS 10. Our great new DVD player is automatically launched. You can see we've got a new user interface for the controller. You can choose between horizontal and vertical orientation. And let me just step through this quickly. This title brings back big memories for me. 1960s content on a modern architecture.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
You're ready to move out.
How many of you remember the Batman movie from the 1960s? We can jump to our favorite scene. Of course, with DVDs, everything is completely interactive.
Small craft still closing. Range 4,000. Bearing 88.
I'm sure you would all want to just watch this for the rest of the day, but we have a lot of great things to show you. When I drag volumes, notice that the icon on the dock changes to eject. We don't have to explain what dragging to the trash means anymore. But this is truly cool. This is the first time you'll have ever seen this. You can tell everybody about it. I have a blank DVD-R. I'm going to just pop it into my super drive here. And after just a couple seconds, macOS 10 is going to detect that this isn't a DVD-ROM. This is blank DVD-R with 4.7 gigabytes of unformatted capacity. And it's going to come up and say, hey, this is a blank disk. What would you like to do? So I'm going to prepare it. I'm just going to give it a name, and I'll call it My Project. Many of you work in environments where you have massive files. If you're in digital photography, your scans are 25 to 100 megabytes in size. Video work, obviously, you measure in the gigabytes. And with macOS 10 version 10.1, you can take a blank DVD disk and simply drag and drop any of your files onto it, and it copies. Let me go to my movies folder, and I'll grab a QuickTime movie. And when you're all done, you can copy up to 4.2, 4.3 gigabytes of data. And when you're all finished, all you need to do is press the Burn button that's now located in the Finder's toolbar, or drag it to the dock, and the icon turns into Burn. Burning a DVD-R disk is truly that simple. And it's the first time any computer has ever offered it. So that was a quick tour of some of the great features in macOS 10 version 10.1. I'm going to turn it back to Phil because we have a lot more great things to show you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. We talked briefly earlier about the digital hub, and macOS 10 version 10.1 truly delivers a lot of key features to make macOS 10 the ultimate engine for this digital hub. You can burn CDs right from the desktop. You can burn DVDs, as Ken just showed you, the first operating system to ever allow you to do that. We have a great new DVD player, which you've just seen, to watch movies on macOS 10 systems. We have an image capture application that makes it very easy to work with digital cameras, and in fact the widest array of digital cameras available in an operating system. Built-in support for cameras from Kodak, Nikon, Canon, Olympus, and many, many more. iTunes is now included with macOS 10. You don't have to go and download it and find it separately. It comes with the operating system ready to go, the best software for managing your music. Now, iMovie 2, the best video application for video editing and making your own movies from DV camcorders, is included with macOS 10. You don't have to go and get it off the internet and download it and install it. It's ready and waiting for you. And then if some of you attended Macworld in July, you saw a sneak peek of a really amazing application called iDVD 2. Now, iDVD is already years ahead of anything that anyone else has dreamed of to make it easy to make your own movie DVDs that can play in standard DVD players. And if you buy one of our Super Drive Power Macs, you get iDVD. You don't have to go get any more software to make your own DVDs. And with iDVD 2, we're not only bringing it to macOS 10, but we're adding features that allow you in just minutes to create a DVD title that competes with some of the most advanced interactive titles you'll see from Hollywood. Now that will be coming later in October. What we'd like to do is invite up Mike Evangelist, Director of Pro Application Product Marketing from Apple, to give you a sneak peek of iDVD 2 and where it is today. Mike?
Thanks, Phil. Good morning. As Phil mentioned, we're just putting the finishing touches on iDVD 2 for macOS 10, and I want to spend the next few minutes showing you how truly easy it is to make a professional DVD that you can use to deliver your creative content in ways that you never imagined before. Let's take a typical example of doing a demo reel for a client. I'm pitching a new business and I want to show some of my existing work to the potential client. The beauty of iDVD is that it accepts QuickTime movies as its source. So any application that can create QuickTime movies can be used to bring video or still images into iDVD. So if you're using Final Cut, iMovie, or literally almost any video editing application in the world can create QuickTime movies. So I've got a few that I've already prepared, and those of you who have seen iDVD 1 know that it's a very simple process. I take my QuickTime movie, I drag it into the very simple one-window interface. It automatically makes a button. I can easily choose any frame of that movie to be the thumbnail for it. And let's just put a couple more in here. There we go. I've literally created a DVD in about 4 clicks here. If I went ahead and clicked burn, put in a blank disc, I would have a disc with my video on it that could play in a normal DVD player. But of course, we're here to talk about new features, so we have to move on. The most exciting new feature of iDVD 2, besides the fact that it's on OS 10, is that it gives you the ability to have motion menus. And if I turn that feature on, first thing you'll notice is that the clips and my buttons are now playing the actual content of the underlying videos. But there's more to it than that. A motion menu can also have video playing in the entire background. We can also have audio attached to that. And to get you started on that, in case you don't know quite what you might want to do with that, we've got some great professional themes included with the application, and I want to show you a few of those right now. This is one of my favorites called Global. I'll turn that on. You can see we've got beautiful video playing in the background. We've got music included with the theme. Let's look at a couple others. This is a really gorgeous one. So imagine giving this to a client and then popping this in their DVD player and they see something that's this beautiful with, you know, there's nothing hidden here. This is all it takes. I drag it over and click on it and away we go. Here's an interesting one that a little bit of a variation on the motion menu theme in that we have just text buttons but a beautiful, elegant background. suitable for almost any use. But for my little project, I'm going to go back to the global theme because I kind of like that one. Now, so far we've seen, I've put 3 pieces of video in here and I've got a single menu, but you're not limited to one menu. In fact, you can make as many menus and submenus as you need to hold all of your content. So I'm going to go ahead and add another menu. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Give it a name. And I've got some great video clips that were edited with Final Cut. I'm going to put those on the submenu. Notice that I automatically get navigation arrows created for me. Picks up the theme of the menu I just came from, but I'm going to change that. Change the title. The clips I'm going to use happen to have a sports theme, so I'm going to pick this beautiful sports theme that we include. And I've got a couple clips here from a forthcoming DVD on Lance Armstrong and his training for the Tour de France. And this was all made entirely with Final Cut Pro. And let's turn that on, see how it looks. Now this looks great, but as creative professionals, I'm sure you're wondering, well, how can I customize this and use my own video here? And I'll show you, it's very simple. I've got a little clip of video that I prepared earlier, and I want that to be the background of my menu. And to do that, I just drag it over here, and it instantly appears. One of the most requested features by users of iDVD1 is the ability to customize the position of the buttons and the text and so forth, and we've added that. So I can easily, I'm just going to rearrange this a little bit, move this over here. And since I'm intending this for television, I've turned on the TV safe area so I can see where it's appropriate to put these. And let's see how that looks. Okay, one more thing. So far, we have worked with video, we've worked with menus. You can see how it's completely customizable. But the thing many people don't realize, when you talk about DVD, it's natural to think of video. But DVDs are also the perfect delivery mechanism for still imagery, whether it's photography or ad layouts or basically any graphic file format that QuickTime can read. So it might come out of a layout program or a design program. Those can be put on DVDs and viewed in a normal DVD player. This, the concept is basically that of a slideshow, and you can have literally thousands of still images on a single disc. I'll show you how that works. I just add a slideshow. If I open this up, I get a slide sorting window, and I have a number of photos here that I just drag in like this. Of course, I can easily rearrange these. I can even put audio that will play under the images as they're viewed. Go back here. I can then choose any one of those images to be the thumbnail for that button. And let's see how that looks. So my project is basically done. All that remains now is for me to burn it onto a blank DVD. So as Ken showed with data DVDs, it's as simple as hitting burn, putting a blank disc. These discs are $10 a piece. You can hold up to 90 minutes of video on one of these. Put it in, and thanks to the power of OS X, the MPEG encoding and the formatting of the DVD data and the writing it out to the disk can all be done in the background, so you can continue to do your other work while that happens, not interrupting you. Now we have a disc that we burned earlier, and Phil's going to show you how great this looks.
So this is a great new medium for all of you to use to deliver your work, both things you do at home as well as what you do in the workplace. We think of entirely new ways to share content, whether in a design studio, an ad agency, the 3D modeling studio. And once we've done the project, literally just as Mike has done, we click the burn button, and on a $10 disc, I've made a DVD that I'm now going to stick in a standard consumer player. This is a Sony DVD player. And there's our project with just incredible pristine quality with these beautiful MPEG encoding engines we have. We can navigate it through like any standard DVD player. We click on one of the menus, we go into a sub-menu, Let's pick that bottom clip. It's Tony Hawk. Just incredible, pristine quality. Let's go back up a level. Let's cut over to our portfolio menu. In here, I've placed a bunch of our ads that we have, some video clips I might want to be showing my client. But what's this? It's a movie trailer.
All right, let's get a move on, people. We are on in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, people, Eastern Seaboard coming online.
On November 2nd, the creators of Toy Story
Good morning, fellas. Hey, what's shaking, bacon?
Did you lose weight or a limb?
take you into the world behind your closet door.
Roz, you're looking fabulous today. Is that a new haircut? New makeup.
Would you like to have a microphone?
We've always been afraid monsters were there,
Scary feet, scary feet, scary feet. Oh, the kids away.
waiting to scare us.
Twins and a bunk bed.
But what we didn't know is that we scare them.
What happened?
The kid almost touched me. You can't touch a child. They're toxic. If a kid ever got through one of our doors, the results would be catastrophic.
Walt Disney Pictures presents
Kitty! That thing is a killing machine.
a Pixar Animation Studios film.
There's a kid here, a human kid.
We can neither confirm nor deny the presence of a human child.
Let's keep it. I always wanted a pet. That can tell me. What are you doing?
Monsters Incorporated.
It's a musical. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. So help me, so help me. And cut.
I know after you've bought your copy of 10.1, been spending weeks on it, playing with it on your desktop, you'll be ready to go out and have some fun entertainment. So, one last area of the DVD I want to show you. Mike talked about photography. Let's go over to the still images. These are from a digital still camera. Just incredible quality. Being able to click through, show photographs to your client, to your friends, to your family. You can see this working not only in home, but in education and in the workplace. We all work with these digital devices now. The Mac is your digital hub, and it allows you to create content as never before possible. So that's iDVD 2 coming to Mac OS X in October, and really one of the key applications that helps round out our digital hub and make Mac OS X really the ultimate platform for managing your digital life. Next up, something a lot of you care about, managing color. Mac OS X with 10.1 is the most integrated color management platform ever delivered in personal computing. We have fully integrated the latest version, ColorSync 4, throughout Mac OS X. From the moment you turn on your computer, and it automatically can sense your monitor and set up a ColorSync profile on the fly if you haven't made your own already, every time you turn on your computer, all the way to the moment at which you print out your documents. The entire process of using Mac OS X is color managed, and every bit displayed on that screen is managed automatically through ColorSync. We use the latest ICC4 specs, and you'll find powerful new tools in the preferences and utilities to manage ColorSync on your Power Mac platform. I'd like to bring up John Zimmerer, ColorSync Product Manager, to give you a little glimpse of the capabilities of ColorSync and image capture and how they work together seamlessly. John?
Thank you, Phil. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. As Phil mentioned, ColorSync is integrated as part of Mac OS. Well, we've shipped ColorSync as part of Mac OS since 1995, but it's never been integrated at the level of which it is in Mac OS X and 10.1. I came to Apple a little more than a year ago with one goal in mind, and that was to make it simpler. ColorSync was a very powerful technology, but could be a little daunting to use. And we did that through integrating it with the rest of the operating system and with technologies like image capture and our printing architecture. So what I'd like to do today is show you ColorSync at work automatically for you. And what I have here to start out with is a professional grade digital camera. This is a Fuji FinePix S1. Support for the S1 is built into the operating system. No additional software required for you to load. We also support cameras such as the Nikon D1 and the Canon D30. You see that I have the camera connected to the computer by a USB cable, and all I'm going to do is turn this camera on. The camera will be registered by macOS 10, and image capture automatically launches. You have your choice of where you'd like your photos to go. By default, photos go in the Pictures folder, but image capture also downloads movies, if your camera is capable of capturing movies, and audio files as well. Today we'll be putting our photos that we're going to download from this camera into the Sports Shots folder, later used in iDVD. And to show you that ColorSync is integrated, in the preferences, we have the ability to embed a ColorSync profile on the fly for every image that we download using image capture. Today we're going to choose a popular professional color space, Adobe RGB, to embed in each of the images. You also have your choice of any other profile installed on your system. Simply by clicking Download Some, you'll see every image on your camera. You can choose individual images, rotate them if you wish. We're going to take all of these images and download them. As soon as the download is complete, the targeted folder opens. We'll dismiss image capture since we're done with it. And you'll see that each of these images has a profile embedded. I'm going to use one of the Apple scripts that we ship in macOS 10.1. This is show profile info, and you can see that the script returns the file name and the fact that the Adobe profile is in fact embedded. Well, we didn't stop there with integration. It's great that image capture supports ColorSync, but the rest of the operating system must. In an application like Preview, it makes perfect sense to support ColorSync. Here's the image with the profile. I'm going to duplicate this image and rename it. And using another Apple script that we ship with the system, remove profile from image. I'll strip the profile, open this image in Preview, and you can see that in fact the color is different between the two images. So Preview understands embedded ColorSync profiles. So for the first time on any platform, you have a soft proofing tool shipping for free as part of the operating system. That's pretty cool. Well, once you have your images on your computer, you naturally have to share them. They go in some direction. It may be iDVD2, it may be to a printer, and ColorSync is integrated with the operating system in such a degree that even the printing system takes advantage of ColorSync. It takes the embedded profile, the targeted output profile, and ColorSync does the rest to match from source to destination. One thing worth noting is that macOS 10 automatically builds monitor profiles for every monitor we ship and the majority of third-party displays on the market. So without having to do a single thing, ColorSync is building your display profile for you. If you wish, you can go into the default calibrator, create your own, or there are also third-party tools available for creating profiles. But I want to share this photo with a colleague. What I'm going to do is send this via email. The level of integration of ColorSync into the operating system is to such the extent that even an application like Mail takes advantage of embedded ICC profiles. This means for the first time you also have the ability to email proofs to clients. If they're on macOS 10 and they're using Mail, they have their monitor profile built for them automatically on the fly. Mail will see that embedded profile and render the color accurately on screen. Simply drag and drop your photo, send it. When the customer gets their new mail, they see that you've sent them the cover art proof, and the color that they see on their display matches the color that you captured. That's the level of integration and simplicity built into macOS 10.1. Thank you very much. Phil?
John, thank you. So macOS 10 manages color from the moment you turn on the computer through every bit you see on the screen, when you bring in your images, scan them, take your pictures, and the applications you use that we include with macOS 10 like Preview and Mail all seamlessly work with it, and you can send documents around the office or to other customers around the world. And if they all choose to use macOS 10 and products like our mail package, it is all color managed automatically. Really, this is a vision of soft proofing that people have asked for so long, and it's now becoming available with 10.1. Now, one other area that our customers care deeply about is the ability to automate their workflow in the publishing workspace. There's one of them over there right now. An AppleScript is a powerful tool unique to the Mac platform that makes all that possible. And it's supported by so many of our developers so that you can script workflows between applications and the Mac. With macOS 10 version 10.1, the system is far more scriptable out through all the applications from the Finder to networking and on. We've also added support for new web services that are becoming available. There are hundreds of web services that expose data that you can get and use in your workflow automatically. And since macOS 10 builds in the standards to access that data, XML, RPC, and SOAP, AppleScript lets you create a workflow to automatically get that data and place it in your documents and in the work you're doing. And we've included dozens of pre-installed scripts to make this really easy for you. And we're going to show you all of that, but in addition, we're going to show you one thing that's coming available by the end of the year. So this is something that no one else has seen yet, and it's something we're extremely excited about. We call it AppleScript Studio. This is the answer to a lot of our AppleScript customers' dreams. They've asked us for years to take AppleScript and make it a professional development environment for them, to allow them to have professional tools for writing and debugging their AppleScripts. They've also asked us to make it easy to create AppleScripts that look like programs that have actual user interfaces on them, though they're simple language scripts. And that's what we call AppleScript Studio. We're integrating the AppleScript programming environment into Apple's powerful development tools, things you know from WebObjects and Cocoa development, called Project Builder and Interface Builder, and they work seamlessly together. So with that, I'd like to bring up Sal Segoyan, our AppleScript guru, to take you through some of the great things in macOS 10.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks, Sal.
Hello, Seybold. We're really excited about AppleScript on macOS 10.1. I really mean that. We're excited about the integration in macOS 10.1. We're excited about the new features and the new directions. So to begin with, let me give you a simple example of how well integrated AppleScript is by doing some things in the Finder and with a couple applications on macOS 10. I'm going to open up a folder that contains some images taken by Pete Johnson from our web team of the recent San Jose Shark exhibit. And I'd like to be able to view these images and manipulate them, possibly scale them and rotate them. And to do that, I'm going to use some scripts I've downloaded from the AppleScript website that are called toolbar scripts. They're going to take advantage of one of the new features in macOS 10, which is the toolbar. You can customize this by dragging applications and file icons and script icons to the toolbar. So I'll take a couple of these and just drag them up into this window. And as I drag them up there, you can see that indeed they are available in every window that I open on the desktop. I'll close those. And the first script that I will click is called Browse. When I do that, the script will use the default browser on your computer, which is, in this case, is Internet Explorer, and open up a listing of all the images that I can then peruse and move through here. And you can see that these images are rather large, so the first task I need to do is to scale these images. To do that, I'll use another toolbar script, appropriately named Scale. I'll click the script. It will present me with a simple dialog asking what percentage I'd like these images scaled. I'll choose the default of 50%. And then using the Quartz engine built into macOS 10 and AppleScript, it will scale the images right in the folder, right on your desktop. Thank you. So let's browse those again and see if it did it. And here they are. And yes, there they are. You can see that the images were indeed scaled. And this particular image needs to be rotated. Now, I could use one of the toolbar scripts, go back and rotate a couple images in the folder or all the images if I want to. But to demonstrate the high level of integration that AppleScript possesses in macOS 10.1, I'm going to rotate the image while I'm still in the browser. I'm going to go to a new script menu, choose Digital Camera Scripts, and choose Rotate Image. Present a dialog. I can rotate to the left. An Apple script will use the Quartz engine to rotate the file on disk and then tell Microsoft Internet Explorer to update the preview for us automatically. I can also do things like resize the image. Let's make this image 640 pixels tall. Resizes. And I can even apply color sync profile as well. Let's apply an embedded profile into the image so I can see what it looks like. Let's try a duotone. So there I've applied the profile to the image on disk using Quartz and color sync and AppleScript updated in the browser. That's integration. That's AppleScript working with the OS. Yeah. One of the other new features about macOS 10.1 that's really got the AppleScript team excited and a lot of people in the office excited is support for web services. Web services are applications based on XML that run on the internet, and they provide services and information for customers worldwide. And in order to communicate with these applications, AppleScript uses SOAP and XML-RPC, which are internet standards, to send messages to these applications, get information back, and present it to you. Two of the sample scripts that we ship with the OS include one script for checking the temperature. I'm going to go to my Internet Services menu, choose Current Temperature by Zip Code. It will present me with a dialog. I'll pick Phil's favorite zip code, which is the office in Cupertino. And it goes out over the internet, talks to the database, gets the information, brings it back, converts it from Fahrenheit to Celsius so that it presents me with both bits of information. Now, this type of technology could also be used in a publishing scenario as well. And to demonstrate that, I'm going to switch to a very powerful application. This is Adobe Illustrator running on macOS 10. Yeah. Now, I must compliment Adobe. They do a tremendous job of making their applications scriptable. And it has been an absolute joy to script this application on macOS 10, and you'll like it too. So what I have is a weather map of the United States. I'm going to use a script to talk to that same XML-based application on the internet, get the current temperatures, and then, using Adobe Illustrator, let's hide some of these palettes here for a second and go back to the Internet Services, choose Weather Map, get temperatures. And as it's doing that, AppleScript is going to take that information and, based upon the temperature, change and colorize the particular locale or state to match the temperature we need. This can only happen on a Mac. Now, I got a $20 bet with Phil on where the hotspot is today. Let me see if I look. Looks like I'm going to lose. Phil's got it on Phoenix. Okay. Now, this is using a public web service. Imagine what you could do if you had a web service that was hosted on your own network, using your own data that your own staff would pull information from. This is the kind of technology that's integrated in macOS 10. It's what makes it so powerful. Phil?
So I'm going to take a 1-second interlude here, and before Sal continues, everything you've seen is stuff that's available with macOS 10 version 10.1. And it's incredibly powerful, more powerful than any other platform. What we're going to show you next is a sneak peek of some of the technology in the AppleScript Studio. Again, this is not available yet. This is coming by the end of the year, and it is really the answer to a lot of the prayers and dreams we've heard from our AppleScript customers. Sal?
Phil, thank you. What I'm about to show you is really where the power of Unix and the ease of the Macintosh come to life. Many of our customers have been asking for a long time that they wanted the ability to have an interface, a custom interface for their application. They wanted the ability to make something that was easy for their staff to use. They wanted the ability to make things that could talk to databases and talk to networks. Well, now we have that with AppleScript Studio. What we've done is taken the two premier development tools on macOS 10, which are Project Builder and Interface Builder, and we've made AppleScript a peer language with our own Objective-C and Java. And I'm going to show you the Project Builder environment right now. Where am I? I'm over here. This is the project builder environment. You'll notice that I have a script open. My script shows up here in the window. This is where you can write your scripts and store the information. My resources are down here on the left-hand side. I have some images, I have some templates and various things in this document. And I have all the tools of a professional development environment at my disposal, such as fine change, such as step-by-step debugging. It is a really powerful environment. But what really makes me excited as a scripter is the second half of this story, which is the interface builder environment. And I'm switching to that right now. And this is the part of the development environment where you get to have a lot of fun. For example, I can go through all of the various Aqua elements that we have available in the operating system and drag out a window and make the window the size I want. And then let's say, okay, I want to add some tabs to that. I'm going to have some steps involved. I'll click here. And you'll notice that as I'm drawing these things, I get these helpful little guidelines that show me where to place the things to follow the Aqua rules. And I can also put things on there like sliders, drag that over here. I can put an image over on this part like this, and it lines up automatically for me like this. And I can even attach a button. Let's put a button right here. And when I'm ready to put my scripts and attach my scripts to these interface elements, it's a very simple thing to do. I merely select the element itself, choose AppleScript from the information window, pick the action that I want. On this case, it'll be when it's clicked, and then click on a script to attach it to a script. It's really that easy. It is the power of Unix and the ease of the Macintosh personified. Now let me show you an example application that I've created using this that we're going to use to control a publishing scenario where we make a real estate catalog. This is an application that was created entirely in AppleScript Studio. It is a native macOS 10 application, just like any other application. It has all the elements, the beautiful Aqua elements that are a part of any macOS 10 application. You'll notice I've set it up so that my staff can follow 3 simple steps. There's step 1, step 2, step 3. You'll notice that as I click the buttons here, the template that I'm going to be used for my catalog changes, and I can pick which template I want to use. I click the second step. I can check this pop-down menu to get the region that I want to pull my real estate information from, and I can even pick which realtor I want to use. The third step, I can choose to import images, import text, and import graphics. Now, when I click this build button, what you're going to see is the Apple scripts inside of this application talk to Adobe InDesign, FileMaker Pro, and iView Media Pro to take the information from the 2 databases, bring it into a layout, and format it for us automatically. So here we go. I'll push the big button, Phil, and we'll watch what happens. It opens up the template and immediately starts getting the information out of FileMaker Pro, bringing it into the targeted containers in InDesign, formatting it in the correct possible paragraph styles that are necessary. Then once it's done with that, it's going to switch to iView Media Pro, then find appropriate images in there, bring them in there, size them, and scale them. All of this is possible with AppleScript. Thank you. Yeah. Phil, if I may add a personal note, I've been scripting the Mac since 1992, and as a scripter, I am very excited about macOS 10.1, and I really do believe that now's the time for the scripters out there and the people that provide the solutions to come on over to macOS 10. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Sal. We really have built macOS 10 to both be a single operating system for consumers and education, as well as for you professionals. And I hope some of these things, particularly ColorSync and AppleScript, show you how much we've been thinking about that. So macOS 10 version 10.1 is a release that is now becoming available, and it is truly a great version of macOS and something we're incredibly, incredibly pleased about and proud to bring to you. So that leaves one more thing. Applications. Great applications. You've already seen some of them via Sal's demo, but there are over 1,500 applications available for macOS 10, from simple fun utilities up to incredibly large, powerful, useful applications for you. With the few minutes we have left, I'd like to just bring up 4 different examples of the incredible applications that hopefully will make your life a lot better and make macOS 10 the best platform you've ever used. And first, of course, is Microsoft. As Steve mentioned earlier, the Microsoft Mac Business Unit has been working incredibly hard to deliver fantastic Mac OS X applications. Not just ports of Windows applications, great Mac applications. And as we stated earlier, Office version 10 for Mac is fast being finished and will be available in November. For those who want to get a look at it, they can go to Apple stores this weekend, and there'll be a full demo of the product there in the Apple stores. And the thing I'm so excited about, the Mac business team there has worked so hard to deliver today this free trial of Word for 10. You really should get it and try it out. It's just a wonderful product. What I'd like to do is briefly have Ken Breskin come back up on stage. Ken's been living with Office for a little while, singing its praises, and I'd like him to show you some of the quick features in the new Office for 10. Ken?
Thanks, Phil. First of all, I'd love to thank Microsoft for allowing me this opportunity to demonstrate Office version 10 for Mac OS X. It really is an outstanding product, and you're going to be delighted using it. We've got Word, Excel, and PowerPoint here. So let me just open up a Word document very, very quickly. And the first thing you'll notice with Office is the entire user interface has been inspired by Aqua. They've redesigned virtually every dialog and every icon throughout the application, delivering a really great user experience. Let me adjust some of the text here in the headline, and I'll bring up the formatting palette, and notice the same Genie effect that's used in the dock is used to show where the palettes belong. You have direct control over the entire application, and this formatting palette itself is a big convenience. You can choose to keep exactly what component of the application at any time. Great time saver, great space saver as well. This is the full, powerful Word, but it's been made much easier to use by incorporating other advanced capabilities of Mac OS X. For example, in Aqua, we have this great new feature called a sheet. Instead of having a modal dialog that prevents you from doing anything else when you're working on your documents, a sheet is associated with the window. So before you even complete the operation, you can still use the entire application. In fact, I can switch back to the Finder, open up another Word document, and I'm not blocked at all. Very, very convenient, and the cues of Aqua ring through all of the applications. Let me just cancel out of this and take a look at Excel. Excel has been enhanced significantly as well. This is a multi-sheet spreadsheet, so you've got the full power of the Excel calculation engine. But again, Aqua rings through the entire system. So when I'm doing data entry, notice how the cell has a drop shadow drawn around it. So it's absolutely clear that part of the spreadsheet that you're entering data in. We've got some very powerful graphics here, and Microsoft Office version 10 for Mac OS X takes full advantage of the Quartz imaging model. So when you do pie charts, they're beautiful. Full anti-aliasing, so all of the fine hairlines on the screen look really, really sharp. All text is drawn using Quartz as well, so it's beautifully anti-aliased. When you're building 3D charts, you have newfound flexibility. For example, 3D series charts like this are very, very popular, but this one demonstrates a problem. The main series, the frontmost one, coded in blue, is obscuring the rest of the content. Well, no problem, because Office supports full transparency. So let me just adjust the transparency of this first series to 40%. And I do that, and instantly you can now see through that data object to all the content behind it. Is that great? And PowerPoint has been enhanced significantly as well. It's a great presentation tool to take your documents that you've been working on and present them. This is an annual business review. You see the stunning text and graphics, again, leveraging the built-in technologies of 10. And let me go to the final slide here, which is our sales chart. I want to really punch up this image and this slide. So I'm going to go back to my content. I have this great TIFF image that I'd like to incorporate. Now the problem is that this TIFF image is obscuring my content, but no problem. I'll just go to the formatting palette and adjust the transparency to around 75%, and I've added new life, new dimensions to my documents, and that's all enabled by Office. This truly is a great poster child application, and it's an example of the new types of things you're going to be able to do with your favorite software running on Mac OS X. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Well, certainly next up, one of the most important developers creating professional tools on the Mac platform is, of course, none other than Adobe. Adobe has been working extremely hard on all of their applications to make truly great Mac OS X applications. I think today at Seybold is somewhat of a coming out party for a number of these products, as they're now talking about and showing us some of the great work they're doing on Mac OS X. And they've been a great partner of ours, and we're really proud to have them here to talk to you about some of the things they're doing. And to do that, I'd like to bring up Brian Lampkin, Senior VP for Professional Publishing at Adobe. Brian?
Thanks a lot, Phil. It's great to be here today. I think following Sal's demo, there's not a lot left to say, but I'll try to say a few things. I think he deviated a little bit from the script, though, so pun intended. Okay. What I'd like to say is we are really impressed with what Apple's been able to put into 10.1. We're really excited about the release. I think Adobe and Apple together have a very strong legacy and a strong history of coordination and innovation. And when we look at what they've been able to deliver, the teams working together on things like color management, to typography, et cetera, we're very excited with this platform. We think that this platform will remain the mission-critical platform for professional publishing in a network publishing world. So thank you, Apple, for all of your innovation there. What I'd like to do, you've seen some of the glimpses of Illustrator 10. We've announced that this week in Design 2.0. We're going to take you through a little bit more depth later on in the Adobe keynote around lunchtime and invite you guys by the booth. What I'd like to do now is really go beyond that and take a sneak peek at what the Go Live team has actually been working on to really raise the bar for what web publishing will mean on the OS X platform. So I've got Mark Asher up here, the group product manager for the Go Live team. He's going to take you through a brief demonstration here. This is future technology. This is not something that we're announcing this week, but we really want to demonstrate not just with the applications that you see today announced this week, but in the ongoing commitment that we're making to this platform to make sure that we are delivering the best of breed network publishing content creation applications. So Mark, take it away.
Thank you, Brian. Folks, I'm really excited to show some upcoming features in an upcoming feature of Go Live and how we've taken advantage of the performance and the power of OS X. So, first of all, look at this gorgeous Aqua interface that we have here. We've got that beautiful shading. We have the buttons and so forth, all the bars, some wonderful shading effects on our menus. We've really captured, I think, the essence of the Aqua UI. Let me show you a couple things that we've enabled in Go Live in this upcoming version. First of all, I have a web page here, a number of rollovers, some menu items, and so forth. And one of the things that is really powerful and something that people have been asking for a long time is the ability to create a concept without having to build all the pages up, asset by asset, page by page. Well, you can do that now in Go Live through site diagramming. When you pull up a new site diagram here, and this is completely interactive with all the other elements of Go Live. So the index page that I was showing you simply drops into my site, into my concept. And if I want to create some pages, say for those menu items on that page first, I simply do that here. It automatically links those pages directly to my index page. And these links are interactive. They'll be preserved when you publish this to your designers, to your developers. I'll show you that in a couple of seconds. You can use a number of new objects we've created to, say, create annotations. So, for instance, let's say I want this page to go off to a shopping cart database. Simply type that in, and you have a number of other objects you can use. Say, here's the database itself. I can connect this just by dragging and dropping it. I can also use, let's say I want to put a PDF on this particular object. I can connect it this way, or I can use our lasso tool and connect it that way as well using this arc function. But I think the neatest thing of all is that when you're done with your overall idea of how you'd like this site to look, you can actually publish this through staging, and it will show up, all those pages that I've created, right down at the bottom of your site, ready for your designer, for your developer to add content and get the site ready for staging and for publishing. So I think that's really exciting. One of the other things that I'd like to show you is something that plagues everybody, because I know how much everybody loves to debug code here. As you write a page, we've made it incredibly easy for you to take advantage of our check syntax function. So let me switch over to our outline mode. Here's all my tags behind that page. And simply by selecting check syntax, you can choose any number of pre-built standards, or you can add your own. I'm going to pick HTML4 strict. And Go Live is going to go out and actually check the code for me against that, find all my errors and tell me where they are so I can quickly address them and fix them and improve the efficiency and speed with which I get this website published. So that's really exciting. I mean, we're cleaning up the workflow and we're making it more efficient for you to spend more time being creative and more time doing your job. And I think the most exciting thing is something that we've added for this upcoming version of Go Live. Real estate's always at a premium for creative professionals in terms of screen space. And we've had palettes that you can tear off for some time, but now you can actually dock those palettes around the screen as flyouts, so you can customize your work area whatever way you like. Thank you. And folks, that's our next version of Go Live on OS 10. Brian.
That's a little bit of our next version of Go Live on OS 10. So Adobe InDesign 2.0, Adobe Illustrator 10, we've got Acrobat Reader out there. We're showing you a glimpse of things to come here. Adobe is 110% committed to be what we are today, the leading network publishing application provider for the Macintosh platform. And I just want to reinforce that commitment moving forward, working hard on the rest of all the applications. Steve talked about Microsoft and Word as a poster child for applications, and they may be the poster child, but word processing is kind of child's play compared to what Adobe's bringing to the platform here. So I don't remember the last time, Steve, that you got up on stage and demonstrated performance, Pentium versus PowerPC using Microsoft Word. So I think that we have a lot to contribute there. So again, we're committed. Drop by the booth. Come by Bruce and Shantanu's keynote at lunchtime. You'll see a lot deeper look at both Illustrator and InDesign, and stay tuned for the rest of the year and on into next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. I hope every developer who makes any one of those 1,500 applications argues over who is the poster child for Mac OS 10. I think we all win if that's the process. Well, a couple other developers that may want to make that same argument are now, we're going to move from the 2D space into some of the 3D space, because you know the Mac has been the best platform for working with photography, working for line art, for working with layouts. But with the power of Mac OS 10 and Unix under the hood, we have the ability to also deliver great creative tools to all professionals out there using 3D as well as 2D tools. And that's what our last two examples will be. The first one is from NewTek. They've delivered some great products on Mac OS 10. I'd like to bring up Brad Peebler, who's the Executive VP of 3D Graphics at NewTek. Brad?
Shucks. Thanks. All right, I'm here to talk to you today about Lightwave 3D version 7. Lightwave 3D has been on the Macintosh platform for about 6 years, and in that time it has become the most popular 3D graphics application on the Mac. We're very, very excited about OS 10, and especially OS 10.1. And we're going to show you some things we've done inside of Lightwave 3D to optimize it, not only for OS 10.1, but also for the AltaVec Velocity engine and for multiple processors. Now, Lightwave 3D is typically known for its use in television, film, gaming, web, but we're really now getting into print and digital illustration. So we're going to show you how we can cross those lines with one single data set. All right, the first thing we're going to do is take a look here at just a simple preview. And when you think of 3D, the mythical third dimension, you generally think of animation, and that's what we have here. What we're doing right now is we're taking advantage of two embedded Apple technologies. One is QuickTime, and the other is OpenGL, one of the open standards Phil was talking about. OpenGL gives us the ability to see 3D graphics in real time, and of course QuickTime gives us the ability to play back 2D animations very rapidly. So what we've done is we've used OpenGL to calculate the preview, and we grab those OpenGL frames, we slam those into the QuickTime media layer, and then we can play those back inside of our application at a guaranteed frame rate, in this case 30 frames per second for NTSC. Now what we're going to do, though, is we're going to jump over here and take a look at how we might use this data set for print. So I'm going to go ahead and end the preview, and you can see we have the car now into new environment. You'll notice the background is actually a photograph. One of the most tricky things about 3D is getting the final render to look photographic. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use the photograph in the background as the lighting for the 3D element. Now, typically, you wouldn't come up on stage and do a render, especially a high-intensity radiosity render, but the Lightwave render engine is so optimized to take advantage of the velocity engine and multiple processors that that's exactly what we're going to do. What you're seeing right now are millions and millions, literally, of rays being fired off into the environment to calculate the shading on that automobile. And we're doing that with a tool called Global Illumination and Radiosity. And you'll notice the processor bars there up in the corner slamming to the top as it goes through the render process. Using Lightwave's multi-threading and OS 10.1's handling of those two processors, we're able to take full advantage of the speed of the workstation. And there you can see by the magic bell, we've just finished that fully rendered image, photographic quality, in 30 seconds. That's something... Hats off to the Apple development team for helping us on the velocity engine stuff. The processing power inside those commands is amazing. All right, the next thing we're going to do is show you how we can take this data set into different environments. Now you see here a single rendered frame. This might be for a commercial or for a print ad. But we can also use this for web deployment. Here you can see the same car, same position, different environment. But this is taking advantage of another Apple technology, QTVR. So now, before this prototype car is even run off the assembly line, we can get an idea of what that thing's going to look like in the virtual world. So now we can see completely photorealistic from any angle. Clients or new customers can come online, check out your car or whatever product it is before it's even come off the assembly line. And again, with the exact same data set, we can then do our print ads. And yes, like Lightwave, this car is like butter. All right, so a great example there of crossing the barriers. Lightwave being so fast and flexible, utilizing the power of the G4 chip. One artist with one application and one system can now cross the barriers for any kind of content that their clients may need. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, in the graphics environment, image is everything, and that's exactly what we deliver. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Brad. The last, and certainly not least, one of the most anticipated applications on the Mac platform in many, many years is a little application called Maya. I jokingly call it little because those of us who know a lot about it know that it actually may be the single largest application ever written with tens of millions of lines of code. And it has previously been run on high-end workstation class computers bought through specialized channels, but for a lot of money, a lot of very expensive IS costs to support. Well, now Maya has come to the Mac. And it's shipping on the Mac, on Mac OS 10 today, because of the power of the Unix and the hardware we provide. Customers can go to their standard channels. They can go to standard retail, an Apple store in the mall, and buy a computer to run workstation high-performance level 3D graphics. And not just 3D modeling and graphics, but some amazing graphics and paint tools that you've never seen before. To help us see that, Andrew Pierce, Director of Maya Technology Group from Alias Wavefront, has joined us to show off Maya. Andrew?
Thanks, Phil. Maya is the most advanced 3D animation and special effects software there is. You've seen Maya used in feature films, in broadcast video, in games, and more now in interactive web publishing. And I'm pleased to be here today to tell you that Maya for Mac OS 10 is available now. Now, we chose to bring Maya to Mac OS 10 because of a number of reasons. There's the powerful Unix core, there's the OpenGL support, and of course there was an incredible customer demand. Over 20,000 of you emailed us requesting this product on this platform. Maya is used by creative professionals, and creative professionals use Macintosh. Now, Maya has a number of tools which will help the artists bring their 2D painting skills into the 3D world. With me is Peter Billington, one of our product specialists, who's going to help demonstrate some of these features. Pete?
Thanks, Andrew. What you see here is the beginning of an Oasis scene that we'll be creating over the next few minutes. I'm going to start by using a technology called Paint Effects to paint natural plant life directly in my scene. One of the fundamental design principles of Maya was to empower the artist with tools that they're most familiar with. In this case, we're using a brush tool to paint with a preset palette of over 200 brush strokes, in this case, natural plant life. Can start with some hyacinths here in the middle. Then drop into wireframe mode to show you that, in fact, as I tumble around the scene, that those strokes were indeed painted on the ground plane. I can now extend that brush metaphor to a sculpting tool to create an interesting environment for my plants to exist. I'll move to a pull function and pull up a mountain area on the back of this plane around the oasis. And then switch to a push function to push in the area where the oasis will reside. Now, if any area becomes too dramatic, I can move to my smooth tool and smooth that surface out just as though I was sculpting clay. The next step would be to create the surface of the water. So I'll drop in a plane to do that and position it downwards so it intersects with our oasis there. And then create a nonlinear deformer, in this case a wave deformer, to create a ripple effect on the surface. And I can animate that over time to create a rippled animation effect. Finally, we can position our camera to render this from any view. One of the most compelling aspects of Maya on the Macintosh is that we can leverage the existing suite of creative tools to output to almost any kind of media. In this case, I've created a web page where I've rendered an overall image and then zoomed in on an area of the background to render a detailed higher resolution image. We can also render out QuickTime. And if I play this back, you can see that all of this animation was built into those brush strokes. All I did was animate the camera and hit render. All of that the computer did by default. We could then burn this to a DVD. This is the kind of imagery that you can create right now with Maya for Mac OS X. Andrew?
Thanks, Pete.
As you can see, Maya offers a powerful new world of possibilities for the creative professional. Technology that was only available on high-end workstations is now available on the desktop, and not just the desktop, also on a mobile platform, your Titanium PowerBook. So Maya for Mac OS X is shipping now, and we can't wait to see what you're going to do with this powerful technology. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's over 1,500 great applications, many announced here at the show. You can see them on the show floor, and the wealth of pro creative tools appearing on Mac OS X will enable us to do things that were not possible on the previous Mac or any other personal computer. So that rounds out Mac OS X and all the things we wanted to talk to you about 10.1 today. It truly is the best version of Mac we have ever created, and one we're extremely, extremely proud of delivering to you and all of our customers. As Steve mentioned, it's available starting Saturday in channels for $129. We have a free update that will be available in those channels until October 31st. And for all of those here at the show who have Mac OS X, we have brought these free updates here for you at the show. As you leave the hall, you can pick one up, and they're also available in the booth downstairs for anyone attending the show to make it easy for you to get up and running on Mac OS 10.1. So thank you very much for being here today and enjoying the launch of 10.1.